What is going on, guys? Yes, I'm in a car. I'm doing things a little bit differently, so I'm sorry the lighting is kind of bad here. I'm kind of recording this off my S10 Plus because I don't have big money for one of those fancy DSLRs. But I mean, that's okay. Use what you got. Everyone when they're starting off YouTube, just use what they had. I mean, thank God, nowadays we have cameras, phones that have much better cameras. So I'm sorry the lighting is kind of weird, but let's see if I can fix it post-production. Yeah, I don't like how it's kind of going darker and then lighter. See that? I don't know. Anyways, guys. Since I want to do YouTube more consistently, I decided that I'm just gonna make some reactions on the road since I'm always working and since I'm always in my car nowadays. Just gonna do some reactions in here as well as home. So I mean, sorry that there may be some background noise, but I'm in the open. I mean, you can probably hear that car going by. I don't know, but it is what it is. Anyways, guys. Now there has been a lot of things going on. As I'm sure you guys know, there has been just a ton going on, a ton. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna react to a video that I came across on my feed. A guy named Zach Hing. I believe I'm saying this right. White privilege from an Asian perspective. Now, people have been chanting that white privilege is a thing. Honestly, I have not experienced white privilege. I don't know. Oh shit, it's starting to record. Had to back it up. But yeah, I don't know anything about that, man. Freaking white privilege. I don't think we have white privilege. I think we have class privilege. If you have a ton of money, you can afford to do a lot of things. You can get away with a lot of things. Because you can afford the best lawyers to get you out of loops and everything like that. So I don't know if it's necessarily a white privilege. I don't think it has anything to do with race. Because I mean, hell, OJ got off. I mean, he's in prison, but I know OJ got off for the murder, but I think he got arrested for stealing his own stuff or something like that. But I mean, yeah, there's been a ton of people who've gotten away in the system just because they're wealthy. So I don't know, but we're gonna check out what the boy Zach has to say. Let's see here. Again, this is the first time I'm kind of doing this, so if the setup is not correct, I'm still adjusting the things. So let's. All right, let's. Okay. All right. Go. Okay.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Zach here.
Hi, Zach.
Back with another video for all of you today. Thank you for tuning into my channel. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, and comment on this video when you are done watching it. And be sure to join the Discord discussion. There'll be a link to my Discord server in the video description below. And that will be a place where you can express your thoughts, your opinions, and expand on a lot of the topics and the ideas that I talk about in my videos. So just a little bit of an update before I get into today's topic. I'm going to go see Crazy Rich Asians later this week, and I will probably make a video on that and let you know how it goes. But I recently entered into a dialogue with somebody else about white privilege, and naturally, because I'm going to go see Crazy Rich Asians and the fact that it's already being boycotted to some degree on social media is insane. And it's probably worth addressing this topic once and for all. White privilege. I cannot believe it is 2018 and people are still talking about white privilege. Now this is going to come from the perspective of an Asian American guy in America, or I should just say an Asian person in America. Okay? Now I've seen a lot of people talk about white privilege. I mean, a lot of black people have talked about white privilege. A lot of white people have talked about talked about white privilege. I've yet to see a lot of Asians speaking up about white privilege. We simply just don't do it, people. Have you ever talked to an Asian person realistically about white privilege? Not from the context that they've endured prejudice or discrimination by whites because they were called Ching Chang Chong or all that kind of stuff, but real white privilege from a socioeconomic status. You ever heard of it from an Asian? Have you ever heard an East Asian or an Indian talk about white privilege? I'm guessing probably not, or probably not as commonly as you would hear other minorities complain about white privilege. It simply doesn't
That's
exist.
fact.
It is just one of those things that have been fed to you for the longest time by progressive liberals and a lot of people on the left to keep you exactly where you are and to feel
Yo,
like
talk
you
to
are
him,
part
Zach.
of this group identity, that you can't get ahead in America, that you can't make something of yourself, that race and that whites have an unfair racial advantage
Bro, talk
economically,
to him.
socially, that will prevent you from getting ahead because they hold all the power in America. They hold all the cards. And shit, if you're black or you're a minority or you know, you're a Native American, you are just out of luck and you can't get anywhere. I'm here to talk about that, and I'm here to clarify once and for all why it is not true. It has everything to do with choice. It has everything to do with
Boom.
culture and environmental conditioning than it has to do with race.
Exactly.
We all have
Exactly.
equal opportunities here in America, and in fact,
Bro, this
for a
man
lot of
Zach spitting.
minorities out there, there are already affirmative action plans in place that help you get jobs and help you get into college. So the
Right.
fact that we are still whining about the concept of white privilege, to me, is honestly sickening. Because it's not, number one, based in any facts, and number two, it's just victim mentality at the end of the day, which for a lot of you viewers who have been watching my videos for some time now already know my stance on it, okay? I am tired of the victim mentality, and I am tired of people blaming white people for all of their problems. Yeah, white people have done a lot of,
Bro, this
have
Zach,
been responsible for
this
discrimination
dude.
against minorities historically.
Woo.
But in these days, ever since the 60s, after the Civil Rights Act, after the Equal Pay Act, after equal employment, and, you know, all of these opportunities came about for everybody, it's no longer a problem. When we think about
Exactly.
affluence in America, this is something that has been brought up by a lot of political commentators and a lot of personalities on the internet. People have written about it in the Huffington Post. It is not something that is a well-kept secret. I mean, hell, you could Wikipedia this and find this out. Asians are among the most affluent households by race per capita in the United States. That is no surprise to some people.
Boom.
And that's the reason why we don't complain about white privilege. Why are we the most affluent race? Guess what? It comes down to simple choices and economics that determine the possibility of a good and fulfilling and well-paying career over time. I talk about it in terms of education. This is where our stereotype comes into the mix. We study hard, we work hard, we go to good schools, and despite affirmative action plans that have been put into place to keep us or to make the barrier to entry more difficult for Asians, we still get into these schools, we still get good jobs, and we still work hard and hold those jobs. Asians have the most, we're the highest demographic of master's degrees holders and graduate degrees, although I don't necessarily think that advanced and postgraduate education is necessarily key to a successful career. It has something to say with affluence when it comes to economics in this country. Now, when you think about Asians and how we've been able to get ahead, it completely disassembles the whole concept of white privilege. Because here's where
Exactly.
it comes into play. Asians, and I'm going to be generalizing here a little bit, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do it. I don't care about being politically incorrect. I have witnessed this personally
Thank
with
you.
my own eyes,
Thank you.
and it's also something that I perform. If you work hard in this country and you make good choices and you
You'll get ahead. Simple as that.
you know, you're focused on your goals, you can get ahead here in America. When I talk about culture as it pertains to other races, here's something to keep in mind because it is one of the biggest socioeconomic indicators that keep people in poverty and from getting above the lower middle class in America. And that has to do with, surprise, having children out of wedlock. It is something that is a choice, that is a cultural thing that is more prevalent in the African American community. Single black motherhood is 70+%. That's not me trying to be insensitive. That is just a fact.
It's just
and when it
fact.
comes to whites, it's around 20-something%. With Asians, it's around 15 to 17%. So right there, that already tells you that we are the lowest
Like-
percentage when it comes to having children out of wedlock. When it comes to dropouts, Blacks tend to be the highest percentage when it comes to dropout rates in schools, and this is where I believe that affirmative action does not benefit African Americans. I've already talked about how affirmative action is harmful to minorities. With blacks, why would you lower the standard, the barrier to entry to going to schools? Are you really setting them up for success in the long run? Black dropouts are more prevalent when you have affirmative action in place. And also, it's no different with the workplace. If people are hired based on affirmative action because they are minorities, they're not going to stick around. They're not going to succeed in the workplace.
They can't perform their job.
So when it comes to dropouts, people not finishing high
not
school,
at the
forgive
level
me
and the
for
standard
sounding
that
politically
they're supposed to.
incorrect, but it is still the black community or black population as a whole, and a ton of the white demographic as well. Now, Asians only make up about 5% of the United States population. So compared to the amount of people there are in the United States relative to blacks and to whites, we are the minority in that regard. But if you think about it from a ratio standpoint, I mean, how many Asian dropouts do you know? How many Asians do you know are having children out of wedlock? Now, I'm not saying that they don't. I'm not going to go as far as to say that that is, but it's just not as common. And that leads to overall affluence in America. The Brookings Institute, as it's referenced by the Daily Wire, by a lot of political commentators out there, have referenced the 3 biggest things that will keep you out of poverty. And the biggest factor is having children out of wedlock. If you have children out of wedlock, that is one thing that prevents you from getting ahead in America. And that is especially common in those minority groups and demographics that I mentioned prior. The other 2 things is making sure you don't drop out of high school, that you finish high school, and the other thing, just have a full-time job. If you do those 3 things, those are all as a result of choice, of working hard, and of taking personal accountability and responsibility and getting ahead in America. It's got nothing to do with race, people. It has everything to do with culture and everything to do with personal responsibility, okay? There are not laws that make it more favorable to whites, okay? There are not constructs out there that make it impossible for minorities to get ahead. Because why would Asians be among the most affluent demographic in the United States? Why are they the top income earners? Answer me that. You know, this is the thing when you start to take into account a lot of these economic statistics when it comes to debunking this whole aspect of white privilege. It is nothing but a myth that has been conducted and concocted by the Democratic Party and by a lot of practicing progressives on the left. So I want to leave you with that. White privilege is not something that Asians talk about. But here's an Asian guy talking about it, and I'm telling you that it's a complete myth. If you're a minority in America, it's all about the choices that you make. It's about getting ahead, taking personal responsibility, finishing school, doing whatever it takes to get ahead, and not blaming the white male or the white race for all of your problems. Whites are not responsible for the decisions that you make, okay? They don't decide for you to have kids out of wedlock. They don't tell you to drop out of school. They're not responsible for that. You are responsible for your own decisions. And that's what I want to leave you with today. So thank you so much for tuning into today's video. I hope that sort of clarifies a lot more of this, concept, this myth of white privilege that is completely perverse, and it's all about the victim mentality and not about taking personal responsibility for your actions. It's time to leave the plantation, unlearn a lot of the things that you have been taught, because it's simply not helping you get ahead. It's not helping you be the best version of yourself. Take a look at the facts, investigate a lot of these things. If you want some resources, you can always look this up. This is not something that is hard to find, and it's not a conspiracy.
That's so true. Just look all
I'll
the
leave
shit
it at
up.
that. I'll stop rambling, and I can't wait to go see Crazy Rich Asians. I want to see some real affluent Asians kicking ass in that movie, and I hope that it's good. So far, the reviews look good. It's been met with some opposition, but I'm not going to take that into too much of an account. I think I'm going to have a good time. I will update you all on what I thought about the movie. Again, join my Discord server for a discussion. Some people have already joined up, and we've already had some amazing ideas, stories, and personal experiences exchanged, so I can't wait to see the rest of you on there. Be sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. Hit that like button and comment. Again, my name is Zach. I come out with videos on a daily basis, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care.
Wow. Like, there's nothing more I need to say. Like Like that guy Zach, he hit it right on the head. He hit it exactly on the head. Wow. Jeez Louise, man. That's why I've been telling people. That's why I've been trying to tell people, man. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with the choices you make in this life. I don't know, man. But a lot just don't see it, and I just don't know why. I mean, they're just stuck in that, just like Zach said, that victim mentality. Like they have to blame somebody, and the only person you can blame it is yourself, because only you are responsible for your own life. So, man, jeez, man. I mean, I didn't even know Asians were like 5% of the population. I thought they were like a little bit higher. Man, they're like in the top earners. I mean, it's culture, man. It's culture. Like I can make, like, I'm not trying to make it too long, but when you look at the black culture, I mean, what do you think of when you see black culture? Like it's always football players, basketball players, rappers, drug dealers. Like that's pretty much it. Like that's, I mean, yeah, you'll get rich and everything, but the way Asians are doing it, the way they're setting themselves up, like even whites, like they're setting themselves up for generational wealth, like after they're gone. Because I can tell them blacks, like, because again, I'm in this, like I see what my people do. We get all this money and then we blow it, and then we bitch and moan about the white man. But Asians and whites, other races, they're stacking their money, putting that shit up, investing that money in stock and everything else, like putting that shit in the bonds and in accounts for their kids and grandkids and grandkids. Like they're setting the next generation up for wealth. And like that's how money stays in those communities. But blacks, we can't hold on to shit, man. I don't. And again, it's culture. It's culture, because we always have to have the best shoes, the best chains, the best Gucci and Supreme. Like, I don't know, man. But Zach, I'm a subscribe to Zach, man. He's on this shit. He knows what he's talking about, guys. That's it, man. I'm sorry if this is kind of coming off a little weird, because I think the lighting's still kind of adjusting. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I don't know if I'm gonna make any more like political videos, man, because I never really wanted my channel to really be political. But I mean, after I made that George Floyd one, I mean, some people liked it, so I mean, I want to give the people what they want. So take care, guys. Bye bye.